All right, hi, my name is Caroline. I'm sure it's probably nice to be able to put a name to the face now. But anyways, for this assignment, I decided to focus on Hills Like White Elephants by Ernest Hemingway. Now, if I was creating this into a film, which I guess for this assignment I kind of am, I wouldn't just focus on the simple conversation at hand. No, that's too easy. Instead, I would want to focus on the much deeper emotional conflict that is happening underneath the words that we can't necessarily see. So here's my presentation. Enjoy. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. My central interpretation, or my thesis, if you will, is that Hills Like White Elephants is ultimately a story about emotional distance and the difficulty, or inability rather, to truly and efficiently communicate with someone. And I know what you're thinking. What? The inability to communicate with someone, they spend the whole story talking. And while that is true, the couple does spend the whole story talking, they never directly address or even name the issue that is causing all this tension between them, which is whether Jig, I think that's how you say her name, should get an abortion or not. And some of the most important parts of the story are actually found in the silences, in the long pauses, and in the things that are left unsaid. Whew. All right, so the story. The story follows an American man and a young woman named Jig as they wait at a train station in Spain. And throughout their conversation, it becomes explicitly clear that they're discussing whether Jig should have an abortion or to keep this baby. Now, also throughout this whole story, Hemingway, the author, never directly states what they are discussing. He never, not once, uses the word abortion. Instead, the couple uses vague language and avoids confronting the true seriousness of this decision. And because of this, the audience has to pay very close attention to the small details in order to understand the emotional weight of what is really happening. Okay, excuse the outfit change, but for my film adaptation, I would want to preserve that uncertainty. I would not add extra scenes, including the characters' backgrounds or explaining any of that, and I certainly wouldn't add a narration trying to explain to the audience what they're supposed to be thinking. Instead, I would want the audience to experience that same level of discovery as if they were actually reading the story. The meaning would come from everything that is not said. Okay, so the class concept I would focus on is Hemingway's iceberg theory, and I have a lovely iceberg right here. So Hemingway's iceberg theory simply suggests that a writer should reveal only a small portion of the story directly to the audience while leaving the deeper meaning beneath the surface for the audience to interpret and figure out themselves. Kind of like an iceberg. You see the top, but there's so much left on the bottom that you can't see. And this concept is essential to the tone of my film adaptation because the tension in Hills Like White Elephants comes from what remains hidden. The couple never openly argues or has an extremely dramatic emotional confrontation, no. But the audience can still sense the discomfort between them. If anything, it's more uncomfortable because there is so much awkward, uncomfortable silence, which is more uncomfortable to witness than some big argument. To translate the iceberg theory into film, you just plop a huge iceberg in the center. Make it really easy for them. Not too hard, make it easy for the audience. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that. But what I would do instead is I would focus very heavily on visual storytelling and all of those aspects. I would really hone in on long pauses, like that, to make the audience equally as uncomfortable as the couple is in the story. And I would also really focus on body language and microexpressions. Which, fun fact, humans can actually identify a person's emotion faster than they can identify something as a certain color. So, for example, maybe instead of showing a close-up of a character crying or having an emotional breakdown or something like that, not that that happens in this story, but just as an example, I would instead focus on the small details. Maybe when Jig looks away from the man and doesn't know what to say, or that they're sitting directly across from each other and it's like they're split and it's really awkward, or when they have these long silences. I would focus on those details because those are the details that really show the hidden meaning in the story. I would also avoid using very dramatic music throughout the film, such as this. Alexa, stop. 1 second. Whew, and we're back. Okay, so instead of that, I would definitely try to rely on sounds from the natural environment. I would want sounds like the train coming, or other conversations happening in the background, or leaves, or the wind, or just the environment itself. Those sounds would be perfect. Just the quietness of the setting alone would make the tension feel so much more realistic and would really allow the audience to focus on the uncomfortable silence between the characters when it is silent. But it is crazy the difference music makes. Just like watching a scary movie. If you watch a scary movie with the Charlie Brown theme song over it instead, I promise it won't be scary. It is crazy what music can do. Okay, so now for visual symbolism. For this assignment, I think I would choose to focus on the railroad tracks, a very important part to the story. And we're just gonna use a crosswalk, but we're gonna pretend it's a railroad. It's fine. All right, come walk with me. Okay, so the tracks are one of the most important symbols because they represent the decision that the couple is facing and the different paths that their lives could take. The train station represents a moment of uncertainty and transition. The couple is literally waiting for a train, but symbolically, they are waiting to decide what direction their relationship and future will take. The track suggests that once they make this decision, they will have to move forward and cannot easily return to the way things were before. Okay, so if I were directing the scene, you would not need any dialogue to be able to express the extreme symbolism of the railroad tracks. And now, I want to preface with the fact I am no film major. I have no idea what I'm doing. But anyways, maybe during filming this, maybe during a moment of silence or something, you could take the camera and pan it to the railroad tracks so that you can really understand the environment that they're in and you could feel the symbolism of the tracks. Now, also, I want to be able to do this whole scene in one take. There is this one show called Adolescence where every episode is filmed in one take and it is incredible. You feel every single emotion that the character is feeling. You feel all the tension. You feel the silences. And that is what I want for this scene or for this story. I want you to be able to feel every single ounce of emotion. And by focusing on the tracks rather than the character, for when you pan out to the tracks, the film would show that the couple is literally standing at a crossroad, both literally, like I said, and emotionally. All right, I know I look a little different now, but we're just gonna ignore it. Okay, so going back to the visual aspects of the story, for my short film, I would really want to emphasize the difference between the two sides of the railroad tracks and show that contrast. So in Hemingway's story, he describes one side of the tracks as very old and dry and kind of barren looking, while the other side looks and feels much more alive with life. So I would use this contrast to visually represent the different possibilities and emotions surrounding this couple's decision. Oh, and another thing, we never actually find out what they decide to do, or more importantly, what Jig decides. So at the end, once the conversation is done and finished and the train arrives, I want the man to get on the train, but then I want Jig to just stand at the open door of the train for a beat. Not necessarily leaving, but also not necessarily getting on. She just stands there for a beat, the end, roll credits, that's it. So we don't know if Jig chooses to stay on this path with the man and do what he wants, or if she's finally ready to get off this ride and make her own choices. So yeah, that is my attempt at creating an adaptation for the short story, Hills Like White Elephants. And I really think that this approach would capture what makes Hemingway's story so powerful. The idea that sometimes the things that are left unspoken are more powerful and reveal more than the things that are actually said. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had a laugh or two. I tried to make it at least a little lighthearted while following the criteria of the assignment. So yeah, that is all. And thanks for watching, I guess. Roll bloopers. Okay, and now for the, wait, I'm embarrassed. I would want to keep that uncertainty. Would it be funny if I'm like, here, come walk with me? Nope. Wait, I don't know what I'm saying. I think I would choose. I can't talk. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. No, we're good, thank you. Approach would capture. I can't do this. And this I think if I were directing, okay. So, for my adaptation, I would want attempt. Anyway, okay. I should put that in the blooper reel. Say hi.